My name is Evgeni Radичkov and I am 15 years old. I am in the 9th grade, so I have been a student in our educational system for 9 years now. Although I have always been very analytical, I've never really asked myself why our educational system is so far behind compared to Western Europe, for example. However, now as a teenager, I have a strong opinion that I'm here to defend. I want to explain why and how I want to change our educational system. First of all, I have to explain why I believe that this educational system needs to undergo change. And for this to happen smoothly, I have prepared a few points. First of all, I want to talk about the fact that we have too many inexperienced teachers. I will give you an example with my own school, the High School of Mathematics. This year only we have 14 newly employed teachers, from whom only less than half are actual good teachers. I have two very good examples. One of them is our teacher in literature, who has been a journalist for 30 years before he decided to become a teacher this year. Another prime example is our physics teacher, who's also one of the newly employed ones, and she makes spelling mistakes while she's writing on the board. And believe me, they're not because she is distracted. The second point that I feel needs improvement in our educational system is the school material, or at least how it's presented in front of the students. What we learn nowadays in school rarely ever seems interesting to anybody in the classroom. And that is completely understandable. Not even half of what we're taught in school will be needed for our future lives. For example, right now in school we're learning how to make pictures using Microsoft Word. For the simple fact that the subjects discussed in class cannot grab the students' attention, most of them prefer not to listen, and you can't really blame them. Why would anybody want to spend their time studying something that will serve no purpose in their future lives? Now, I'm not saying that I want to completely change our school subjects, because that would be just stupid. But if you have to teach something, at least make it interesting. For example, connect it to a topic which can relate to teenagers, and they will be at least interested to listen to it. Another thing that you can do is make the students actually involved in the learning process. Make a presentation, even videos or photos. It is not hard, nor does it take that much time to do. However, here comes my last point to cover. This is the teacher salaries. This is the main reason that we actually have inexperienced teachers, because if you're not paid enough to be able to live from hand to mouth, then you're not gonna want to work this job. I don't think I know any teacher who hasn't complained about their salary. Well, except the BRITANICA team. In 2016, a erudite study said, with the average wage of 4,970 BGN per year, Bulgarian teachers rank at the bottom. However, on the 1st of September 2017, teacher salaries were increased with 15%, rising up to 836 BGN monthly. With the average taxes in Bulgaria being around 200, that leaves about 250 BGN left for food, travel and leisure activities, which is the equivalent of around 332 euros monthly. How does that sound to you? Even though there's a lot more wrong with our educational system nowadays, I have been blabbering for way too much time about what's wrong, and I should probably get to the point how I want to fix it. I have narrowed down the way that I want to change our educational system in two factors. The first one is to reduce the number of students in class. So as of now, classes consist of around 27 people, and while that doesn't seem to be a lot, a significant change would come if those numbers were to be reduced. First off, a lot more individual attention would be provided. If you get behind schedule on the school material because you've missed class, like you've been ill or something, it's not as easy to catch up as it should be. My brother is a very good example for this. He's in the 1st grade, right? And he's below average when it comes to writing and reading. However, since the class is so big, the teacher just cannot waste everyone's time helping my brother, and we can't blame her for that. It's not her fault, it's the system's. The second main result that will come of the reduction in numbers in class would be the reduction of stress among students. Without a doubt, many students suffer from anxiety, being too shy, or just in general not being able to talk in front of people. But if the class numbers are reduced, this will open up an opportunity for everyone to be one big team. Let me explain. As of now, classes are usually separated in a couple of groups of friends which have similar interests in general. However, if these class numbers are to be reduced, socializing among students and classmates in general will be a lot easier to happen, and a lot stronger friendships will be built. This way students won't feel judged by the others around them and will be able to give their best at school. The third and last result is that teachers would at least be able to build some kind of bond with their students. At this point in time, I have about 15 teachers at school, but a maximum of 5 teachers from those 15 actually know my name and I cannot blame them for that. They have way too much students to be able to remember their names. However, if we had less people in class and in general teachers had less students, they would at least be able to learn a bit about their students. My best teachers up to now have been either from BRITANICA or my homeroom teacher from 5th to 7th grade, who actually made effort to learn a bit about her students. I'm convinced that if teachers had less students, they wouldn't feel as demotivated to go to work and deal with their whiny students. Not only would that benefit teachers, but students as well, because they will not see their teachers as nuisance. Well, there are some other changes that need to happen in order for this idea of mine to be realized. The main point is that teacher salaries need to be increased to a point where teaching is not a job that you want to take up if you don't find anything else. Being a teacher should not be something that you're ashamed of. It should be an honorable position, as it was many centuries ago. Teachers should be highly valued and respected. However, in today's society, this will not happen unless their salaries are increased. We as students may respect our teachers because this is what we have to do, but in society that's not the case, because you have to earn people's respect. You need proof that you're worthy of their respect, and that proof is usually your salary. The sad truth is that it's not like our country cannot afford to boost teacher salaries. For example, our MPs earn between 2,000 and 3,000 BGN a month. I mentioned previously that this is a bit lower than what teachers earn, but for a year. However, there is something which has even more effects on students nowadays, and it directly affects their relationships with their parents. And this is student grades. Every student is paranoid about what grade they're going to get, and more importantly, how their parents would react to it. I'm sure that most students would agree with me, but I don't remember receiving a grade and not thinking, will my parents be proud? What would they think? In time, I realized that the hard work that I put in towards those grades is not because of me and because I want it, it's because I don't want to disappoint my parents. However, this has changed, and nowadays I prefer not to share my grades with my parents, even if they're good, bad, mediocre. I want to keep them for myself because I want to work for myself. And that specifically has relieved a lot of stress from me. However, I am not the majority of students. Most students have very strict parents who want to know every single grade of theirs. They even want to talk to teachers. And this puts even more stress on the student. That is because most parents nowadays don't really care that much what's behind the grade. They care about the number. And that puts a very serious burden on students nowadays, and it makes their school life that much more stressful. In the early years of school, students are still very young and they're building the foundation of their characters. So if they receive a bad grade or consecutive bad grades, they're immediately thinking, I'm not good enough. When this happens, this thought stays in the child's mind until proven wrong. However, once discouraged, the harder it is to motivate the child again. However, grades are not a problem only in primary school. If I told you that a couple of numbers decide what your future will be, would you believe me? No. But that's essentially how it works. Although many say that the grade represents the knowledge, this is just simply not a statement I can get behind. My main point is that I want to remove grades from our educational system. I'm not saying remove tests or examinations in general. I'm saying remove the grading that assesses them. Tell the student where their mistake is. Explain to them how to get it right. But do not demotivate them and write them a poor grade. School should be a place where we go to study and learn about the world around us, and not a place which we avoid because of all the stress that comes along with it. Another minor change that I'm sure will come along eventually in time is implementing technologies as much as possible in our educational system. For example, in BRITANICA they use an interactive video projector on the board. These projectors are connected to a computer, and the board essentially becomes a monitor. Even though most schools have video projectors in their classrooms, they're rarely ever used except for when students have to present like a presentation which was given to them. Although some schools do indeed use a lot of technology, there are only a few, and it should be something which is used much more widely. By now you're probably wondering how my system would work, and it all builds off the teacher salaries. If they're increased to a point where teaching is something that you actually work towards and set as your goal, naturally the number of teachers will increase. With that, there won't be a need for that many students in class, so classes will be reduced to like half of what it is right now. Following that, a lot of changes will happen for both students and teachers, so I am going to put you in both positions and explain to you how it will work. Since there will be a lot more teachers after the salary boost, you, as a teacher, will now have a lot less students to work with. With that, you will not have to check as many tests, and instead, this time would go to you preparing your class in a fun and entertaining way. Because there will be no grades, you will not have to put markings on the tests, and this time would essentially go to preparing a plan for improvement for your students. This is made so that when you return their tests, they will already have the answer on how to improve. You will be working with your students, not against them. And eventually you will grow close to them, and some of them may actually look up to you. Now as a student, you will have a maximum of 14 classmates and a teacher who actually enjoys teaching. You no longer have to worry about receiving a bad grade on a test. You no longer have to worry about your parents scolding you or grounding you because you didn't do well enough. You no longer have to worry about embarrassing yourself in front of friends and classmates. You no longer have to worry about teachers picking on you. There is no more stress in your school life. You are just there to learn, to educate yourself. What I aim towards with this system is to relieve students of their school life stress. I want to generally make it a bit more enjoyable so that you don't struggle to reach through the weekends, and through the weekdays you're just worrying about receiving a bad grade and being scolded or grounded by your parents. As of now, if anybody says they like school, you'd be called crazy. However, people don't remember how excited they were to start school. Everybody was. Everyone is eager to start school. However, as time passes, you become even more eager to finish it. I aim towards school being a place where you want to go, a place which motivates you to study, to learn, a place where every student and teacher work together and help each other out. This is what the leader in me wants to achieve.